Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted that you're a part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. We have two wonderful authors for you today. First, Joy Reeser, a Reading with Your Kids certified great read author, is here to celebrate Design to Shine Volume 2. And later on, Eric Hagen will be here to celebrate Go Go the Fish. Speaking of celebrations, the winter holidays are just around the corner, and I am guessing that you are looking for the perfect holiday gift to inspire a love of reading in the kids that you love. Well, let me suggest that you check out Wonder Crate. With Wonder Crate, kids get a fun-filled package in the mail every month with a new book and activities that will introduce them to real people who use their courage, perseverance, and passion to make the world a better place. Check it out. Your kids will be able to read about Sally Ride, the first American woman to fly in space, and then create their own glow-in-the-dark constellations. They'll also get to read about famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright and then build their own architectural masterpiece. Every month, Wonder Crate will introduce your kids to new innovators, activists, and artists because who they see shows them who they can be. Order today at WonderCrateKids.com. Now remember to use the code word READ to get 10% off any subscription. And check it out. If you are listening to this podcast when we first published it in the middle of November 2020, you have a chance to win your very own Wonder Crate. Just check out our social media pages. Wonder Crate's running a great giveaway. Check it out today. It's Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Jedley Magic on Twitter, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram. Remember, go to WonderCrateKids.com. Use the code word READ to get 10% off any subscription. This holiday season, give a gift that inspires the kids that you love. Join us on the line right now from the beautiful state of North Carolina. She is a certified great read author. Please welcome back to the show our friend Joy Reeser. Joy, how are you?
Thank you, Jed. I'm fabulous. Thank you. And yourself?
I am doing, I was telling Joy about something that did not fill me with joy the other day, but overall, I'm a pretty happy person. It's a crazy time that we're living in, but one of the things that this time has helped me understand is just how greatly blessed my life is, and how my family and I have been blessed over the years. And even now, even though it's difficult, we still are pretty blessed.
That is fabulous. And I feel the same way, that counting blessings, no matter what is happening in the world, is a good idea.
It really is. And the neat thing is, when I was growing up, I've always been that annoying glass half full guy, to the point where I have annoyed a lot of people with that positive attitude over the years. To me, it comes naturally. The neat thing is that, in the past decade or so, there have been scientific research that demonstrates that when you live gratefully, when you count your blessings, and you're healthier, you can withstand pain longer. You're emotionally healthy, but you're also physically healthier, and I think that's just wonderful.
I'm with you. I am the same.
Yeah.
And my optimism, seeing the glass half full, it's fascinating to watch myself. Because, in fact, even with Design to Shine, Read Aloud Rhymes, my first volume of that book, I had the chance for an email about that book to go to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And I was told that authors hear from back from between 2 and 22 media outlets. Mm-hmm. And my optimism led me to believe, I'm going to blow that out of the water. I'm going to hear back from 109, But so far I've heard back from 7. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. And what was the number of emails that you sent out?
It was an association for indie books that sent out hundreds of emails.
Okay. Yeah, typically if for emails, if you get like a 0.5% response, you're doing really well. So, 7 responses is not bad.
Thank you. It feels good, and we'll see what happens from there.
Well, Designed to Shine is a Reading with Your Kids certified great read. I know that our panel of teachers, parents, and kids absolutely loved the book. They loved the rhymes. They loved the illustrations. And we're really excited that you're working on a new volume and just publishing a new volume, volume 2 of Designed to Shine. This is really wonderful. Where do you get the inspiration for these rhymes?
Oh, gosh. Thank you, Jed. I believe that I wrote in my journal for years when I was in my 30s, every day a prayer to become who I am. Mm. And the books I have so far written have come through me with effortlessness and delight. That first volume just poured through me, and then it was an energy. I was feeling, it must have been, who knows, this energy of creativity that was still with me. So I leaned into the second volume, and I just kept editing those words and editing to this point. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm just highly creative.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Do you take do you have a special place? You mentioned that you journaled throughout your 30s, and I'm wondering, when you write, do you have a special place where you write? Do you have a routine? Do you take a walk in nature before you sit down to work on one of your poems? Or can you just sit down and be creative anywhere you are?
I really can sink into that place of silence within me to write at any moment. So I love taking walks. I love sitting in my sacred chair in mornings for my spiritual practice. I still journal every day. But when I'm in my office and I'm ready to write, I guess what I do is I close my eyes and take some breaths. I pray for the words to arrive. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. That's
a wonderful thing to pray for.
Yes, for the right words to arrive. Yes, because I'm here to bring a lot of goodness in the world.
Yeah. It's kind of like your ministry that, you use the word prayer, and I see you as, this evangelist for joy.
Yes, I've been called a joy bringer. I am certified in spiritual direction, and all my clients always say I exude joy. They feel enlivened by talking with me. I have something in me that enlivens other people.
And it must bring you a great deal of joy to be able to share that gift with others.
Exactly. I have never felt so fulfilled in my own being, because I do touch a lot of people with who I am. Mm-hmm. And it's fabulous. And and the relationship that I am in, I am one of those people where the man that I married and he who married me, we really were too young to make a very good decision. And I have no regrets. However, I don't have that 30-year, 40-year relationship. So I am in a 2.5-year relationship with Michael. and feeling so fulfilled in all the aspects of my life.
It's wonderful, wonderful. One of the things that you told me before we began is that you would be willing to read some of the poems that you created. So I was wondering if you could start with one now.
Sure. Are you interested from the first book that won 3 awards or the second book that's coming?
Why don't we start with one from our Certified Great Read, volume number 1.
Okay. Is there a letter of the alphabet you'd like to name, Jed?
Well, J seems like a great place to start.
That's Joy and Jed. Okay. And in this book, it is Joy. And here is the picture, if this is on video.
We're seeing a neat little picture of a couple of creatures out in the woods.
By a creek. Joy, a feeling so high, so bold and so deep. It's natural, normal, your birthright to keep. Meet essence of joy on a walk in the creek, then stepping on grass in tender bare feet. Greet joy by yourself or with badgers nearby, with monkeys on treetops, geese streaming through sky. Add hula in sunbeams. Do not hesitate. Share it, embrace it. To joy, celebrate.
Awesome. What a neat little poem. And I'm thinking that that's a great little poem to share with a kid to kind of celebrate the fact that we can find joy in almost every aspect of our lives.
Exactly. And you don't have to be with another person. You don't have to be in nature. You can be wherever you are.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, too, for kids. I know with the illustrations and the rhyming book that this is a book that a lot of parents would be reading with their young kids. But this is such an important message to share, I think, with those kids in middle school and high school, just that idea that you don't need others to find joy. You don't need others to the word is slipping out of my head, but you don't need the approval of others to be happy and to be joyous. That it can come from yourself. It can come from you just being you.
Yes. I read an article. See, I'm also certified in spiritual direction.
Uh-huh.
And I get a publication. I receive it every 2 months. It's called Presence Magazine. There was a wonderful article about young people and the technology that they grew up with, and older people who might have spiritual gifts, like the spiritual directors, spiritual ministers, and how giving that, connecting older people who have a lot of wisdom and presence with younger people who might feel that, my iPod broke and my person broke up with me, to let them know there's a deeper way of being in the world.
Wow, fascinating. I am all in favor of folks, of young people having an older mentor. I think that's so very, very important.
Yeah. I wonder how many programs there are for that.
I don't think there are enough. That's for sure. You're talking about presence. Why don't we open up volume 2 and find the poem for the letter P?
Oh, nice. It's patience. Patience in children can rather be missed, for who wants to wait for one's lunch to be fixed? And who has patience for birthdays to come or parades to begin with marchers and drums? Though patience, my dear, may start out quite small, as you grow and mature, as your height becomes tall, your patience will grow like trees that reach high, you'll laugh that to wait once caused you to cry.
That's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm wondering how much fun do you have sharing these poems? And I know we can't do it now because of COVID, but how much fun did you have sharing these rhymes with kids at a live reading?
Oh, yes, Jed, so much fun. And even it's with the parents also, or their caregivers or their grandparents, because the title that had come to me of Designed to Shine, Read Aloud Rhymes for Any Size Heart, that I see the joy that comes to any age person who's hearing these rhymes. These rhymes also speak to the inner child of adults.
Did you always think that you would be writing children's books and just modeling this attitude of joy?
I didn't. I can remembered that when I was a kid, I had a dream or something happened every night, so that every morning as a child when I woke up, I was holding on. And what it was, Jed, was I would write something that would add to the peace in the world. So the fact that I am now, I have inspirational books for adults that I've written, and now I will have 2 inspirational books that speak to families.
Joy, I know folks are going to want to know where they can find Designed to Shine Volume 2, and also they're going to want to know where they can learn more about you and about all the books that you have created.
Thank you. Yes, my website is a good place for that, which is joyonyourshoulders.com. And my books are always widely available. You could ask for them in an independent bookstore. They could order them. You could order them online or get signed copies through my website.
Awesome. Well, we've had a great time revisiting with our friend Joy Reeser. Her new book, Designed to Shine Volume 2, is going to be available in November, and it will be a great addition to your family library. A great way to start talking to our kids about leading grateful, joyful lives. Joy, thank you so much for being with us again.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
We hope you enjoyed our chat with Joy Reese. So be sure to check out Designed to Shine Volume 2. Also, be sure to check out our friends at Wonder Crate, WonderCrateKids.com. Be sure to use the code word READ to save 10% off of any subscription. Right now, we're going to invite Eric Hagen in to tell us all about Go-Go the Fish. Joining us right now from Arlington and the great state of Virginia. He is the author of a great new debut picture book called Go-Go the Fish. Please welcome to the show, Eric Hagen. Eric, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm really excited to have you here, and I'm really excited to get to know Go-Go. Tell us all about this character, please.
Yeah, so Go-Go is a creative little fish, but he works in more of a business world. And he spends his time, he spends his time daydreaming about ways in which the world can be different and coming up with clever little solutions for problems that we face. But his only problem is he can't find someone who can make those ideas real. So he begins his journey by sharing one of these ideas with his bosses at work, hopefully to try to get them to see if they could find a way to make these ideas real, but instead he finds ridicule, and they kind of tease him a little bit because these ideas don't make money, they're not profitable, and they're silly.
Fascinating. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Did the inspiration for this book come from personal experience that you had?
Yeah, it did. When I came back, I've actually just spent the last 3 years in Zambia. I was working with the Peace Corps, and a central theme was of my experience there was kind of reflecting on how I was, affecting the area I was working on and trying to come up with sustainable solutions to a lot of things. And a lot of that pertained to, food insecurity, deforestation, climate change, pollution, that kind of thing. So I began just musing about, little weird little ways that could fix it, even if they're not that feasible. And when I came back to America, I began working on this book in partnership with Matunas. And yeah, I just kind of figured it out as I was going, but a lot of it's based on just daydreaming.
I imagine that working in Zambia was a life-changing experience for you.
It really was. It was. I'm very privileged to have been able to go there. Very, very lucky. I feel blessed.
I definitely, we're going to get back to speaking a little bit more about Go-Go the Fish, but I imagine that a lot of people listening are like me, and they don't know about Zambia. They don't know really, other than just hearing about the Peace Corps, and that young people go and they volunteer their service for a few years. Can you share a little bit more about your experience and about the country of Zambia and the people that you met there?
Yeah, I love Zambia. It's like a second home to me. I was teaching food security. I was working as an agroforestry extension agent, so it's kind of a fancy word. I was kind of hustling in a way. Like in my community, we would come up with clever ways to make money, get more food in everyone's bellies, which is another big influence on this book. Was just in the community I lived in, we had very limited resources, and we had to rely a lot on just coming up with ideas and finding clever solutions. Zambia it's a landlocked country right south of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's shaped kind of like a kidney bean. I was in the eastern part, right on the border of Malawi and Mozambique. I was there for 32 months.
I imagine that Zambia is a lot different than Arlington, Virginia.
It's very different, yeah. I didn't have, the anemones that I have here.
And I guess that's one of the things that folks should know about the Peace Corps. When young people from the United States go to a place like Zambia or another country, they're not staying at the Holiday Inn and then going out and working. You're living right in the community with the people, and you're also, am I right in thinking that you're pretty much expected to be self-sufficient, that you don't receive a big chunk of money every month from the Peace Corps?
Yeah, we receive a small stipend. It's enough to live somewhat comfortably. It was about $6 a day, something like that, but relatively it was comfortable.
I imagine people listening to this and hearing that you are living on $6 a day. It must just boggles my mind.
In a way, I had everything I needed in that community. I had a great host family that took me in. I actually dedicated the book to them because I love them so much. I was hoping to surprise them, actually, because it was a running joke that one of my host fathers, he would always be like, you need to write a book when you go back to America. And I think he was meaning like a memoir, of the experience, because he knew it was unusual for me to have. And as a joke, I kind of wanted to show up maybe in a year or two with a stack of books and show them.
And, writing a memoir about your experience, I think would be a wonderful thing. And I think it can be very, very, very eye-opening for a lot of people. But just in the short time that you and I have been talking together, it sounds like you really want to make a change, and you want Go-Go the Fish to really inspire some change around the world. And the way to do that is by teaching young people and getting them involved.
Yeah. The whole point of the book, I would say, is I really want little kids to come up with their own ideas. Even if they're silly, even if they're unfeasible, I want them to just daydream more, you know.
That's a really admirable goal. This one of the things that I love, you know, we often hear times teachers talk to us about there's no such thing as a dumb question. And, you know, I've been in presentations where someone will say that, and then someone asks a question, and they'll, you know, the speaker will turn around and go, "Well, I was wrong. That's a pretty dumb question." So, and I think a lot of kids, you know, you're right. They're nervous about, you know, sharing their ideas, asking the wrong questions. They don't want to be made fun of. What was it that kind of gave you the courage to ask questions?
I owe it a lot to the Jerry family, the family I was living with, because they had a saying. It was "Pangono pangono nimtolo," which roughly translates to "little by little you have a heap." And it was just, it was like their mantra. They would say, no matter how daunting the task they were about to tackle, or we were about to tackle, they would just kind of like say that to themselves. And it comes from like making a roof out of grass. And when we would cut the grasses to thatch the roofs, it's just an enormous job, but you do it, you know, one stalk at a time. So the fearlessness that they had in taking on really enormous tasks with very little resources inspired me to kind of try anything, even if their ideas are making a children's book.
Interesting that you chose to put Go-Go in in the business world that you know that we all kind of function in today. And why did you choose that instead of creating a character that in a book that brought kids to Zambia?
The land in which Go-Go lives in, it's kind of dreamlike. It's not very geographically set in stone. I wanted just the concept of like a business-minded society to be in the forefront. And the problem Go-Go faces is that he doesn't really fit into that value system. He has different virtues, he has different values, and he just he thinks about the world in a broader sense. And he faces backlash because the people over him just want him to think about, you know, the company, the profit.
Now, you said that Go-Go presented a couple of suggestions to his bosses. Can you share one of those kind of outlandish ideas that Go-Go had?
Yeah, one that is inspired by Zambia is the idea of a breadfruit tree. And in America, we don't think too much about staple foods. Mm-hmm. And all throughout the world, there's a lot of land is just clear cut, burned down just for corn, you know, misused corn, grains, you know. And Go-Go's idea is if someone could find a breadfruit tree somewhere, he could just turn the world into a big forest, and you wouldn't have to keep cutting down your crops and just harvest every year. And that way we could feed all the people and all the animals.
I imagine coming back to Arlington, Virginia, that also must have been a bit of a culture shock for you.
Yeah. I actually just moved here about a month ago. I'm from Syracuse, New York.
Again, Syracuse and Zambia, two different worlds.
They are, but the human connections are all the same.
Uh-huh. Yes. I think that that's an important lesson for us to help our kids, and that's something that we've talked a lot about here on the show, is that we may look different, we may speak different languages, we may have very, very different life experiences, but deep down we are all part of one beautiful human family.
Yep, the people make the place.
Yeah. You said that this was a collaboration with Matunas. Can you tell us a little bit about your collaborator?
Yeah, so when I got back to America, I said to myself, Pangono Nimtolo, I'm going to do the hard thing. So I emailed 700 companies saying, hey, I'm an artist. Here's what I make. Do you see a fit in any way with your brand? And I got a call back from Matt Mattoon, the CEO of Mattunas. And he said, do you want to do a children's book? And ever since then, this was in January, ever since then, we've just been working together. He's a guy, I'm eternally grateful to him and his team for helping make this idea big and real. He's the kind of guy that believes in synchronicities and, glean signs. So in his mind, he was like, you were supposed to call me. Let's do this project together. And, we work together in different ways.
So tell us a little bit of what Mattunas makes.
Yeah, I don't know if they want me to go too much into detail and say the wrong thing, but they created the first organic surf wax, and they sell different products, usually pretty much all surf related. It's a very eco-friendly company. One of the things about GoGo is the book is 100% recycled paper on 100% recycled ink as well. So I really like working with them because they're very eco-conscious.
And now you are the illustrator of this book. I have to tell you that the illustrations are really, really unique and very, very cool.
Thank you. It's my own style.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that style, what your inspirations are?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on that style since I was a kid. It's just kind of born out of doodling. But in the book, it's used to represent GoGo's creativity, especially in water. You can see all the faces and stuff. They come out, and during the book, there's a moment where GoGo loses his spark and his inspiration, and he starts seeing water like everyone else. And it's kind of disheartening to him because before he was just very creative and very imaginative. So the world looked different to him.
I'm wondering, going back to your experience in the Peace Corps, is this, it sounds like you had a really wonderful experience. Would you recommend to other young people to explore being Peace Corps volunteers?
I would, but the piece of advice I would give is for people to reflect on why they think they should have a right to touch and affect this community before they go. It's not a thought I had before I went. And reflecting on the ripples I sent through this community made me rethink my entire strategy for life.
Can you expand on that? I find that fascinating.
Well, the idea of going to someone else's country and helping them is kind of it comes from a place of privilege in a sense. And to be a good volunteer, you have to be humbled and be open to you're the one that's going to get taught in the end. And that's what I learned. And I was lucky to have been able to learn that.
That must have been a very, very kind of mind-bending lesson for you to learn, to show up. And I imagine that, like a lot of young people, you arrived in Zambia thinking, I'm really going to change these people's lives. I'm really going to help them. I'm really going to lift them up. And what it sounds like what happened was they lifted you up.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I think a lot of times we forget that when we look, when we look and we want to help somebody, one of the things we should ask is, do they want us to help them?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to introduce folks to GoGo the Fish. Tell everybody where they can go online to learn more about this project.
Yeah, you can go to www.gogothefish.com, and you can just order it right from there. And you can also go to at GoGo the Book on Instagram if you want to follow it. There's a lot of cool stuff on there.
Wonderful. We've had a really fascinating time speaking with the author and illustrator of GoGo the Fish, Eric Hagen. Hey, Eric, thanks so much for being with us today.
No, thank you. I'm eternally grateful.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guests will be Laura Chauvin and Sadia Faruqi. They'll be here to celebrate A Place at the Table, a really, really wonderful book. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, we want to thank our guests, Joy Reeser and Eric Hagen. Be sure to check out Joy's book, Designed to Shine, Volume 2, and Eric's book, GoGo the Fish. Also want to thank our sponsor, Wonder Crate. Go to WonderCrateKids.com. Use the code word READ to save 10% off of each and every subscription. And also, if you're listening to this podcast in November of 2020, be sure to check out our social media feeds and be part of Wonder Crate's giveaway. Win yourself a Wonder Crate. It would be a wonderful prize. I also want to thank my team, Alejandra Doherty, Fatima Khan. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me, but most of all, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.